Hi students, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to another session of Healthcare Entrepreneurship. So, today we are going to pick it up from where we left last time. So, let us get started. So, typically when we are talking about beta tests, 50% here is an example, 50% of the visitors are seeing variation A of a product, out of which 23% are getting converted. That means 23% people are after watching this product are actually buying it, and out of the 50% visitors who see variation B, let us say 11% are actually buying a product, right. So, that means 23%, even though the value may not be very high, but it is a much more better version of that product. So, some beta test product examples are like you may have come across, there was this AI app. I have used it personally, I forgot the name. So, this app, what it does is like it can basically take a selfie and show you how you would look after 50 years or at an age of 65 or 70, like, or it could show you a previous version of you, how you would look as a child, right. Very interesting app, like a lot of us have used it. So, this was mostly into a beta version. So, once somebody has used it for 10 or 15 pictures, then they will start charging something, right. So, beta version is something which is out there in the market, which anybody can use, and they would eventually be early adopters of this product. That is one of the key ideas of beta testing. If you are looking at majority of the crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, there are several other platforms. What these platforms are majorly facilitating is beta testing. You are looking at quite a few products excuse me, you are looking at quite a few products where they are trying to basically have or find early adopters for that product and look at that, can some people actually use this initial versions and make some pre-orders, can they possibly buy this at a discounted rate and spread a word of the mouth. So, these kind of details are sometimes done as a part of the beta tests. Another example of the beta testing is when Dropbox for the first time came out with their features or came out with their app. They came out with a video, but after that when they launched Dropbox, they had this initial functioning where it was a beta test version, right. Many of these games which we play on mobile phones are beta testing versions, right. Like there is a very classic example of a game which is known as Pokemon. Many of us may have played it. I have at least seen it being played quite often in the US, where everybody was trying to chase Pokemons or look for some Pokemon hunting and all that, like everywhere. That was a beta testing app, right. So, once it was launched, it was not the final version, but it was just the pre-final version, and it gathered a lot of interest, it went viral, and then after that it was made to monetize, and then people started paying for it, right. So, beta testing is just that step before commercialization, right. It is quite different from the usability test, but typically it is done later at the late stages of commercialization. Typically the success of a beta test is determined by how much of the potential target customers are getting converted and they are actually willing or being able to pay for your product, right. So, that is the success of a beta test. So, there are several key steps in beta testing which needs to be followed. Initially you will be having to convince the betas, or you call them subjects, to test your initial products, right. So, once they have tested your initial products, often you will seek to entice testers to purchase your products. You would like them to purchase your product eventually by making it so nice and approachable. One very common example which we are seeing is Jio, for example. So, a lot of us are watching Jio cinemas, and we have used the Jio mobile network. Typically it is kept free for a while and everybody starts using it and really like it. But the marketing strategy here is, after a certain while you are so used to this platform, now if they start charging some fee, you will not be able to say no, because you are so used to or addicted to this platform, right? This is not only with Jio, like this is done by several OTT platforms, several companies in the different industries and whatnot. So let's talk from a medical device industry standpoint, right? There is a certain medical drug. So I'll give you an example. Like for example, you have Dolo or Combiflam, and these are having some doses of paracetamol and some of the ibuprofen, which is good for if you have some kind of sickness relating with fever, or you have throat ache, or you have some kind of a cold and cough condition, right? These are some easy takers. So many of the drugs are working very well, with certain section of people, and they would just take it in the form of beta, right? Like some new drugs which are there in the market, they would just love to take more of these, and purchase it. Initially this could be given out for free or at a discounted price, and later on they take it. There was a recent medical pharmaceutical lozenge which I tried. Like this is like a 2.5 years back during the pandemic, during the cold winter seasons. This is a term known as Kurkri. Kurkri is basically a curcumin based lozenge. So I had some really bad congestion on my throat, and I was just like literally coughing. I had allergies. I was not able to speak for more than 2 sentences. Once I speak, I start coughing, and this was going on for months, maybe due to the poor air quality, or I had maybe COVID, or there was some after effect and whatnot. But this is a lozenge which was basically recommended by one of the doctors, and I tried it. It just worked wonders, right? Like I would never know this drug existed, but I was one of the initial early adopters who now talks about this medicine like to a lot of my families and friends, and I have bought it for them when they have a throat condition. So this is not a widely known product, right? You would not find it in Apollo pharmacies or other places. I have searched for it. You would typically buy it from some websites like 1mg and all. But this is still a nice beta testing kind of product. I don't know what stage it was exactly in, like when I bought it. But these kind of products can be beta tested, where you find some early adopters, and then it gets viral and people are really liking it for their particular medical condition, right? Very similar for our footwear insole, like which is the pressure measurement insole. We want the effect of that to be very similar, that people actually start spreading a word of mouth about that and are able to adopt that usage, right? Beta testing also deals with the issue of delivering the produce, monitoring use, potentially customizing it to meet the user specifications, and recording feedback. So now when we have rolled a product out in the market, then we want to know that are the customers looking for this product only, or they would like some more customizations. You will get a lot of constructive feedbacks, sometimes a few negative feedbacks as well. So we did the same beta test through Kickstarter for our OneSoles. So what did we find out? Like a lot of them had specific custom requirements. They wanted that, can you make a insole which is very soft at this particular arch, or can have a very soft heel. So these kind of requirements we were not even aware of through the study of literature or the initial tests. So that came out through the beta tests. Beta tester is provided the product for free or eventually granted a discount on the final product. So that's what Kickstarter did. We wanted to give the first 100 customers or first 150 customers this product for a very low cost, right? And then for the rest of the customers, when that quota was filled, like we would give them for a much more higher cost, right? That way the early adopters are able to use this, who are the most enthusiastic customers, and they can give you the right feedback, and then you are doing the job of selling as well through this platform. So while we understand what beta testing is, we need to also pay a little attention into what the other test methods and what a full scale show or commercialization actually means. So the other test method which is fairly common is known as alpha testing. Alpha testing is typically done in a lab environment, and that has usability testing is one type of alpha testing. You have certain simulated test marketing techniques which we are going to talk about in the coming lectures are also part of alpha testing, which are done in a lab. Beta testing is typically which includes a limited group of users outside of the company. So, it is almost like a pre-sale or a pre-launch, right. So, sometimes when you have written a new book on something, right, you want to do a pre-book launch, or where certain premium people or certain people who are enthusiastic about these kind of books get an access, and then it can be access to many of the people. Similar with the movies. So, that is the same thing which happens with a lot of devices. And so, if you have created this new dental implant from your company, you want to bring it to some really premium clinicians in your particular segment, right. Like let us say you stay in Delhi, you want to introduce this in Max Healthcare, or Apollo or Fortis, some premium clinicians, like you want to talk to them first before introducing this widely across the dental clinics, which many of them are private, right. So, this is sometimes beta testing, where you want to test it across a limited group of customers to get the right feedback, and then based on that improvise on the product if any, and then finally go for the full kill, that now you go for all sorts of possible customers in the full levels called as commercialization, which is known as the full scale show, where the aim of beta testing to get customer feedback and inspiration to do a sanity test is basically done. Full scale show is sometimes when you try to showcase certain implants and technologies to the in trade shows or in conferences. That's again somewhere just a little bit before the commercialization, right. So, under beta testing, the businesses will specifically require information about how well the product is working and how easy it is to use. So, it is bundling the usage aspect as well as how the product is really working and how the customers are perceiving about the product, both qualitatively and quantitatively. These kind of information you will obtain through the beta testing setting, right. Some of the quantitative factors: who is buying the product. So, this validates your customer segments, right. This may include diverse groups or types of people, and maybe the same as what you assumed as your target customer, or you realized as your target customer beyond the customer discovery. It could be even beyond that, or it could be a smaller segment within that customer segment, right. What are the features attractive to each tester? You want to get a statistical value on, let us say 80% of the people, 80% of the beta testers basically told you that this nice and sleek feature of the design is very nice, or this particular button is really handy. Like if you have a TV remote and you have a button for Netflix, it is really handy. You do not need to search through Netflix every time and go there. If similar buttons can be placed in a medical device or a thermometer or a glucometer or any kind of surgical robotic instruments, it makes life very easy, right. So, then next is, what is the timing of delivery and capability of use? If some of the beta testers really like the product, will you be able to deliver those products to them like on time, and what kind of timings are they looking for? Are they looking for a 1-day delivery, or are they okay with having a 5 to 7 days delivery? What is the enthusiasm level? Do they want this product right away, or is it okay to wait for a while, right? So, there are many products on Amazon, if you think about it, we do care for having them the next day itself, and there are several products we just do not care when they will arrive based on the level of urgency. So, we have to know during the beta testing what is the level of urgency. Capability of use. So, how is it being used? Is it fairly usable? What was the tester's priority for the product? What quantity did the tester purchase? Was the tester really excited about this product? Did they purchase, like let us say I have this new pharmaceutical drug which has come out from my company, did they purchase a lot of it? Or I have come up with this new footwear insoles which are 3D printed, have they purchased 4 pairs of it, or have they just purchased 1 pair just to test? So, how are the customers reacting to my product? That is something to be looked at. So, that sets a tester's priority. if this is something in their priority, we know somebody has ordered 4 or 5 pairs, we know these are the customers, we want to make sure they are happy and they will probably rebuy it. If somebody has just bought one, we know they are just probably testing the water, may not buy it again. What was the actual revenue from the sale and how much would the tester be willing to pay? Did you actually make some money off of the pre-sale, like I just mentioned, over through a crowdfunding funding platform, or let's say you have a few products which you are going door to door or office to office trying to sell. There are so many salesmen walking with in your office and walking to your places with a brochure of so many devices which they are offering. Maybe they are resellers, maybe they are the developers from the company. From that, have you actually made some sales? These are the questions to be asked from a quantitative standpoint in beta testing. Quantitative means objective numbers. What are your sales? Like, let's say 30% of my products which I showcased ended up in sale. That's a quantitative number, right? Qualitative factors. What did the tester like the best? This is very, very qualitative or subjective, right? So sometimes they would like the outside color maybe. So some testers would be like, this comes in white, this is great. Probably 90% of the testers said the same. What feature or attribute is missing? Where the testers able to identify certain attributes which needs to be there. So for example, we had this footwear pressure measurement insole, and some of the initial testers in the beta testing indicated that there needs to be a battery level indicator for your device. We do not really understand when the battery is going to end, so that's not really nice. So we wanted to improvise that. We have now placed 2 LED lights clearly indicating the battery levels. What needs improvement? That is basically coming as a feedback as a part of this. Would the tester purchase the product again? This is also a good question, right? So let's say maybe my tester is a doctor who would probably recommend this particular footwear based pressure measurement insole to a lot of diabetic patients who are coming along to his clinic. He has tested this once on 2 or 3 patients and he really likes it. He will probably reorder it. He has tested it on 2 or 3 patients and somehow few of the features were not working very fine. He will say, please work on your product more, we will take a look at it later on. I don't think this is something very, very sustainable or very trustworthy. So you want to make sure your product is to that extent in a beta testing that it is trustworthy and people are willing to buy this again or recommend this more. An example with the beta testing is this app with the OneSoles, where are the beta testers able to complete this order was the question, right? What is the conversion percentage? So one of the key tasks which we were trying to accomplish is if somebody is using this app, are they able to complete the order? And this involves not only having the usage of the app, but as well as selecting the right insoles and the insoles getting delivered, right? So we found out certain percentages that these were the people who were completely able to order and they did not get here and there, and that means our app is doing well and so forth, right? For the product, this is another beta testing example. We did not do a usability test, but we did conduct a beta test. Are the beta testers getting what they need? So we wanted to conduct a beta test for all the insole based product, because this is a matter of comfort. We wanted to make sure what do they really want. So one of the feedback was they wanted this in various fancy colors and different customizations. So that is the picture number 1 on the left, where we have different colors, very nice and sleek looking. The second part is the other option was they wanted this insole to get inside all kinds of shoes which they wear, be it boots, be it a office formal wear or be it a casual wear, right? So we made sure our insoles can fit in anywhere. They are flexible and they would go in very quickly, and their sizes are exactly as per the shoe sizes. Like, so if the shoe size is 8, you would probably fit in an insole of the size 7, right? That's typically the norm, you go one size down. Then we also made them wear this insole and inside the shoe, as well as like stand on it and feel the cushion on their arch. Many of them with a flat foot condition wanted some strong cushion so that they can have a proper arch, otherwise their foot will basically pronate or supinate. For the folks with particular high arch condition, we wanted a much more in-depth arch which would support their high arch condition. So, these kind of details were all tested across the beta testers, and they were very satisfied with the insoles, right. So, even though we only conducted usability test on the app, we did beta testing on both the aspects of this product. So, this is a nice example to look at and to understand. Not all tests are essential at all stages, but some of the tests are essential in all the stages, right, like beta testing is right, like in this case, right. So, through this we got a lot of testimonials, and we wanted to get some feedback from people who have actually used our insoles across the world. So, this first is a person known as Grace. She is a runner. She is from Chicago, US, and she said she has a completely uniquely shaped arch and was not able to find the right insole for her running shoes. So, OneSoles, which is basically this insoles product name, made her really be very comfortable, and she was thankful, right, being a runner. So, the next was Kofi, who said he was an avid runner with several of his colleagues and other friends, and OneSoles conforming arch feature had provided the right cushioning for his feet while he ran on rugged grounds, right. Like, so he had a lot of running experience on rugged grounds, and this specifically OneSole insole, which was customized to his foot needs, really served the purpose. Zia Lui from Beijing, China, he walks to his office every day, and he's on his foot for a very long time. So, he had different categories of foot pain. So, OneSole's custom arch insole support really made his journey comfortable, like walking to his office, right. And Dr. Vandana, her foot pain got worse, and she realized one of her foot was a few centimeters shorter than the other during one of the podiatric examination, and OneSoles made her a pair where there was enough amount of depth and cushioning to one of the insoles where she could stabilize her feet and walk perfectly normal, right. So, these were some of the testimonials received based on the beta testers. These were all beta testers. So, finally, what we did achieve was we were able to optimize our product from a very crude product on the left. This is exactly where we started off when we started thinking about this product and building the first prototype of this product, and this is where we ended on the right side. If you look at the product transition, it is heaven and earth difference, right. So, this is through the different levels of design thinking, customer discovery, design for manufacturing, then usability test, test marketing, all these steps put together as a whole led us from this very crude or primitive product all the way to this very nice and sleek looking product, which was now beta tested and people were really liking it. So, this is typically the recommendation for all of you, that do make sure that you do the usability tests for all your products, and also do a detailed beta testing for your products to go forward with before you actually go for a launch. So, this is extremely important to make sure your products are successful when they get out, right. So, hi students, hope you all are doing very well. Welcome to another very interesting session of healthcare entrepreneurship. We are currently in the testing module. So, we have completed the ideation, design and prototyping. So, right now we are into the testing module where we are learning all the techniques to make sure we can test our prototype before they convert to being a product which can be commercializable. A lot of very exciting lectures to follow beyond that, like on the commercialization aspect. So, today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is simulated test marketing. How do you do a test marketing? So, let us get started. So, test marketing is typically the stage at which the product and marketing programs are introduced into a more realistic marketing setting. So, this is where our product is not at a prototype stage, but it has evolved from there to a product stage, and we want to make sure that enough marketing is done, or the proper marketing is done, to make sure this product can get into the market with the right kind of attention, right. So, that is very important. We do not want to spend a lot of time on marketing efforts which are not useful, right. So, that is where we want to test the market and have certain techniques to do that. Test marketing provides the marketer with experience in testing the product and the entire marketing program before full introduction. So, we want to test our marketing strategy. We want to see whether our marketing strategy is proper or not. Is it good, better, or the best, right? And we want to always fare as the best. So, marketers typically use test markets to experiment with brand positioning. This is a topic I am going to talk at length in the upcoming lectures, but brand is typically something which we can relate with. Once we see the Apple logo, we know this is an Apple product. Once we see the Tata logo, we know this is a Tata product. So, we want to create that buzz or initially that awareness across the customers, of course with a quality product, which will help them start recognizing us as a brand, right. There are so many products are out there which have evolved as a brand between the market, which was already quite cluttered, right. So, there are specific companies who have built certain different medical devices or different healthcare challenges have been met through their products or services which have come up to be brands, right. So, one of the examples is basically Healthify, the Healthify app, right. So, that has evolved as something where it is basically giving you all the recommendations for yoga and other activities which you should perform, how your steps and calories are being monitored. So many things are there. This is already within a cluttered market where we know that we have to do step counting apps are there, so many other apps are already there. Then there has been a few apps which are specifically focused on let us say for example this Swiggy Genie kind of like, which can only deliver items from one place to another including pharmaceuticals, right. So, this is just a delivery app. So, you have so many delivery based partners and delivery based apps, but within that they have created that. So, how do you position your brand in the healthcare space? This is what you want to find out through the test marketing. Second is product improvements and product cost reductions. So, this is another thing you want to look at. Now, you want to switch gears from the prototyping or the technicalities to something with the marketing, that what is the right price should I position my product, right, or where exactly should I position my product, so that should I put it in Delhi or should I put it in Chennai or should I put it in a certain clinical community within Delhi where this would be really popular, right. And how can I reduce the cost? So, there are products where I could end up doing a lot of social media marketing and nothing really comes up. So, there is a very niche surgical instrument and all of a sudden I start posting this on Facebook and there are no surgeons out there who are looking at it. So, that is a total waste and failure of my marketing program, right. So, in order to improvise the product with the right feedback and reduce the cost overall associated with the product, I need to do a test marketing. Also, this will align the advertising campaigns and the spending levels very clearly, whether I need to do a word of mouth kind of marketing or visit certain doctors or tie up with engineers, or should I go to certain hospitals. What exactly should be my marketing strategy, right. Consumer and trade promotion strategies. How do I make sure my consumers will really take this? Should I put my particular consumable or product at a 99 rupees or it should be 129 rupees, or how do I promote this? Like, should I say that you have, let us say with this glucometer you get 30 of these vials or something like free along with it, like the test samples free along with it, or should I put it like, if you buy a test sample set of like 50, you would get 20 free. So, there are so many strategies for promotion, right. What are my key distribution strategies? How do I want my product to go from my company to the end customer? Does it have to go through a doctor? Like my foot pressure measurement device has to go through a doctor probably, because the general public will not understand the usage. So, somebody has to visit their doctor who is treating their diabetic condition, and they will probably be the recommenders, right. So, that way my marketing campaign or the marketing efforts completely change. What should be the right pricing strategies? We all know that India is an extremely price sensitive market and some of the products have to be strategized right across as per the price. So, is it always that we make our products very cheap and very low cost that is going to help me take into the market? Not always true. So, something which we did wrong with OneSource, and the reason I keep on bringing up OneSource is this brings you a central idea which we are trying to explore through the different lectures and through the different levels of understanding of the different concepts. We want to kind of connect with a central idea that how did this product evolve, how did OneSource evolve through incorporation of these different techniques or strategies which we learned through the course. That is why I keep on bringing OneSource. So, coming back to it, one thing which we did wrong was we thought like let us make this insole the lowest costing in the market, and that way probably we are going to be very successful, but it did not turn out to be like that. So, many of the feedbacks which came along was this is such a low cost insole, we feel like that something is wrong or something is missing, maybe the quality is not very good. So, the perception changed kind of. So, you do not always have to bring the cost down to have a better marketing. Sometimes if your quality and the quality features are so good or better than the others, you could also match the price and have it a little lower, that is fine, but do not make it drastically lower that I want to cut down my cost by 10 times or 5 times. That is not a very good pricing strategy, right. So, what is the right marketing strategy? That is something I need to determine, and this will only come through testing of the market. So, firms or companies or startups typically test market when they are developing a new product after a large investment. So, testing the market typically comes when the product is nearing its completion or it is fully developed and you have spent a lot of time in manpower, space, equipment to build the product, test it at different levels, to usability test, do this kind of mechanical tests, everything together. After that, now you are ready for the market, you want to make sure the market is ready for you, right, before you roll out this product in the market. That is one of the key reasons the firms test the market. And also another reason why you would go for a test marketing is because there is some uncertainty about a product or marketing program. So, many a times you would know that this particular implant or this particular diagnostic device, like thermometers, there is no uncertainty. It is a very clear thing that people check their temperature. If you put this in the right price point, people will probably end up buying it if the accuracy is good and the consistency is good. So, for these kind of products you probably do not need to test the market, but for a very niche product where let us say you are trying to use some genomics to find out that if I take a small blood sample, can I detect these many amount of diseases, or you are trying to use an app for the first time where you are basically trying to cater to a mental health challenge or mental health issue. This is very new in the market, right. Then you want to do a market testing before actually rolling it out, because things may backfire or it may have no sales, right. Firms sometimes or companies sometimes do not test the market when if a product is a copy of a competitor's product. So, sometimes thermometer like example is it could be a copy of another product, like for example some of the Make in India thermometers are kind of copy of a superior product and they are just cheaper version of the same, right. So, you do not need to test the market, you are just giving a low cost or maybe a medium quality kind of product there. You will see a lot of drugs, medical drugs, like for example paracetamol, which for different companies it comes with different names. You know, they are all paracetamol based tablets only. So, they come in different names and basically they are all competitors, but it is a copy of the same product. So, you do not need to test the market that much. There are a lot of diagnostic devices like masks, for example, masks for prevention in the during the COVID. You do not need to test the market, you know there is a demand, everybody is building mask, you also build one, right. So, whenever there is a copy of a competitor's product to some extent, you do not need to test the market because they have already done that and it is going out with flying colors, right. If there is a high degree of management confidence, sometimes the management is so confident that we do not need to test the market. I know that so many people are ready to grab my product the day I launch it. This happens a lot with lot of medical equipments and medical devices. You have such nice tie-ups for few of the companies with the hospitals that you have showcased, done all the due diligence with them, with the necessary counterparts or the stakeholders, that you know the day you launch this product in the market, so and so hospitals and clinics are going to take it. You do not need to spend any time or money in test marketing in that cases, right? To keep the costs low, sometimes you do not want to do the test the market because your costs are really shooting off the roof and you do not have so much money as a part of your startup to afford it, right? So, what are some of the approaches to test marketing? The first type is known as a standard test market, second is controlled test markets, and third is simulated test market, right? These are the three types of test marketing. Standard test markets are small representative markets where the firm or the company conducts a full marketing campaign and uses store audits, consumer and distributor service and other measures to gauge product performance. So, let us say I have created this new diagnostic device or pharmaceutical drug or this particular app, and I want to place this exactly on an Apollo pharmacy and see how this performs. After a month I am going to get all the reviews that how many of the units, let us say I had given 200 units, have let us say 70% of the units being sold or everything is sold out. What is the same person coming back for the orders? So, these kind of analytics I can get. Or for an app or website, how many hits is it getting, how many people are accessing the app, right? So, these kind of forecasts on, so this kind of analytics will help me forecast basically how do I scale this particular technology up. It will also give me a clear idea of the demand. Let us say I have introduced this diagnostic thermometer in Apollo pharmacies and I had given 200 units, all 200s are gone within a week. So, now I know I need to scale this up. I had planned for a month, now I need to at least scale this up for 500 a week. So, 2000 is a good number for this pharmacy. So, my overall scale of manufacturing would be, let us say 10 pharmacy, 20,000 total, right? This should be my manufacturing level. So, I can now forecast my sales and profits. I can also discover product problems. So, many a times this initial test marketing will indicate probably the product is not working very fine, the batteries are loose or it is not interacting. Sometimes they have to, you have seen remotes in the television where you have to keep on switching the batteries and the product does not work very well. So, sometimes you want to have a direct electrical connection. So, those kind of aspects can be looked into, fine tune the marketing program based on the feedback. So, standard test market is where you actually place your product or service in a real scenario in a limited condition, of course, not full blown that it is like marketed like crazy. It is basically in a limited realistic scenario and you try to get the feedback and improvise your marketing program. One example of this standard test market is this person is basically has opened a new boutique kind of store where he makes certain juices, very organic and nice freshly prepared juices, and he would want some customers to come over and buy them like for maybe a lower cost and look at their enthusiasm, what the feedbacks are. So, very similar to medical products. What are some of the challenges with the standard test markets? This would incur a lot of cost because typically you are building quite a demanding product, which is you need several versions of it. Like let us say if you have this diagnostic device, you need at least 50 or 100 to be placed in a market to see what the demands are. So, it will cost you something, it will take some of your time because you are setting up an entire marketing program here. You have to put a brochure, you have to have a packaging, everything around that product. So, it is cost and time sensitive. Also another problem is competitors can monitor the test. You will be very surprised to hear that many of the salesmen or competitor agents are just roaming around the pharmacies, they would be roaming around shops trying to find who is the new player in the market. Maybe they can quickly incorporate your features or take you over. They can come over to offer you something for a stick. You would not see this as an entrepreneur coming, but this happens very, very often. These people are all around in very white clothes and you would not figure out who they are. So, these competitors can get access through a standard test marketing. While you are trying to market this product, few of these people have come out. Let us say for this person who is making this new juice, there is another store which is also trying to bring freshly prepared juice. Somebody from that store comes in and sees what the recipe is, how does it taste, makes it better in their store, then people will go there and stop coming to you if they offer it at a lower cost. So, sometimes this can allow the competitor access and to some extent competitor interference. So, this interference is a very key word here. We have heard the terms about like, so these are some classic case studies where we all know, we have all had Maggi, right. So, there was this all of a sudden this huge word of mouth kind of thing that Maggi has something cancerous, and in no time everybody stops taking Maggi, right, because once you hear the term cancer or something like carcinogenic, it really freaks everybody out. So, as simple as something of this sort, if some competitor tells about a new medical drug that this has some carcinogenic component, even though it may not be true, but it has created a bad mouth, now your product is not going to sell in the market, right. Similar for a diagnostic device, if somebody says, oh, this product has a 70% accuracy. So, sometimes having a lot of competitors look into your things can give them enough amount of time to badmouth about your product, and this is very common in India. Here we are not into an ethical competition at all aspects. So many people are there like who want to badmouth about your product or what you are doing, and that way they think like they can stop you in the market, and they are able to in many cases. Like Johnson and Johnson products, like many of those baby products have vanished over in the market. So, back in the day, like let us say 20-25 years, we would only see Johnson and Johnson baby products, but there were then a lot of these bad mouthed things like which were certain things were cancerous and stuff like that, and then everybody stopped using it, right. Is it a faulty product? Maybe there may be some issues, I do not know the specifics of it, like, but there are so many times the competitors can gain access and badmouth about a product. So, the competitor interference has to be reduced. Competitors gaining access to the new product before its actual introduction into the market is sometimes very risky. So, the next type which comes into form is the control test market. In this, typically a product which you have is only introduced in a panel of stores that have agreed to carry new product sale for a fee. So, let us say I want to introduce my product with Apollo and just tell them that I will give them a certain amount of money, that can you please try to just showcase this new product to certain people and see like whether they would like to buy it. Many times you may have seen it, like you get to a certain medical store and they would say, oh, we have this nice sanitizer, would you like to take this along? Or we have this really nice, you are taking some medicines like for elderly medicines, like which are pain medicines. There is this really nice ointment which is for made up of olive oil or some extracts, it is really soothing. So, these kind of things are sometimes in the controlled test markets where a new company has come up with this kind of a product and they are trying to just gauge the customer understanding or customer awareness about these kind of products. Can they get some pre-sales or do they have to change their marketing strategy? These are sometimes the pros of controlled test marketing. Is it is less expensive than standard test marketing, because here you are basically doing a limited trial. These are much more faster than the standard test markets. You can quickly have a very limited set of trials and kind of get an analysis out of it. The cons is again competitors can gain access, because you are doing this in an open market, not maybe at that much wider scale as a standard test market, but as a controlled test market you are still opened out to the market. This is an example where 3 different types of insoles which are developed by a new company have been placed in a place like such as Big Bazaar or Decathlon, right. So, many of the people who are just walking around may really like, oh, this is some nice insole which has come up, let me just give it a try, right. This is how you want to steal the show with the customers. You want to see the customers' enthusiasm, or maybe have placed in a shoe store where the store manager is trying to sell based on a fee which my company has given them. I as an entrepreneur, the store manager is trying to sell this insole along with the shoes and see what and gauge and give you a feedback that let us say 60% did actually buy your insole and rest of them did not show a lot of interest. But again, the problem here is a lot of competitors may be revolving around, and they may see the strategy and do the similar thing for their existing insole, and they may be a bigger company, right. So, that brings us to the third and the last type of test markets, which is simulated test market. This is in the events where a firm will create a shopping environment and note how many consumers buy the new product and competing products. So, this is an extremely controlled and simulated market where the competitors cannot gain access. It is in a room or like a big bazaar kind of setting, or like a a office kind of setting, where they have placed lot of competitor products along with your new product in a single segment, and then this is typically done by the entrepreneurs or the company itself, and then you invite users to look over and find which product would they want to buy. If you see they are kind of opting for your product, then it is a success. So, this basically provides a measure of trial and effectiveness of promotion, how captivating your marketing campaign is. Researchers can interview customers sometimes, right. Some of the customers who have come up, you can have an interviewer similar to a facilitator who may ask, you are looking at so many products, which look the most attractive to you? What are the features do you think are most attractive? Let us take a few examples. This is a simulated test market where this particular person, she is a mother, she is trying to decide on the best cereal for her baby, and basically she is trying to look for the constituents of the cereal, the kind of packaging, and here is an observer or a facilitator who is trying to see how she is behaving and what kind of steps she is taking, and is she picking a new product or is she sticking on to some product which she knows about, or what is her preference and choices, what are the choices based upon. These are the questions he may ask as a follow up, right. So, some of the pros of simulated test markets are these are less expensive than the other methods, these are much more faster. This also restricts access by the competitors. Some of the cons of the simulated test markets, sometimes not considered as reliable or accurate due to the control setting. So, many a times there could be biasing, that a user whom you have really asked to volunteer and come check out the different products may already know what your company does, and maybe a little biased that I want to say the good things. That is why you want to figure out users who have probably no idea of what the simulated market test environment is doing and does not know what your product is, right. They want to come and figure it out whether they pick your product. That is the idea of which we are trying to explore, right. This is another example where there is this bakery where they have a lot of different cakes and different kinds of dishes, and they have introduced this new eggless almond tea cake of 500 grams, and they want to look at whether the customers who are already coming, any of them would be interested in this new cake. So, if they find out that maybe 10% are looking at this cake and the idea of this new cake is not really attractive to a lot of customers, they may want to place this in top of their shelf, right, or put it in an attractive setting, like put some flashy lights or something around it, or some discounts or this new arrival or something like that. That is their marketing strategy which they want to do. So, this is what you do through a simulated test marketing where some users can come in. But in a standard market, this bakery could be just next to 5 other bakeries, then it is a problem with the competitors who would know your strategy, how you are selling this new cake, right. So, simulated test marketing sometimes is very useful to get a nice feedback. It is a advanced version of the usability test. This is another example specifically for women who are trying to, this is a boutique store where some new dresses have arrived, and it is inviting for an open house or open sell where a lot of these women are coming in, and what the entrepreneur wants to see is do they actually notice the new dresses or what is the demand for them. If not, then they want to probably place them in front of the reception or in a flashy corner, right. So, that is the marketing strategy. This is an example from the medical industry where somebody is trying to find something to clear out their nose, right. So, they have some nasal blockage preferably during the winters. They are looking for This is the new product. This is an example, Otrivin, which is one of the very common nasal spray, but just think about it as a new product in the market, right. So, how would they know whether to pick Otrivin or several other nasal clear medicines which are there? So, you are looking at quite a few shelves like with bunch of medicines. You know, I could see Thermoperia, there is Lemonocin, like some of the medicines are digestive and so many, but I could see Otrivin and the second shelf, like second column, last row at the bottom, I could see several other nasal opening, you know, like liquids and medicines which are there. How do I pick up Otrivin? So, this is based on the packaging or the constituents or the details of Otrivin which will attract me, if this is not a brand. So, we are assuming this is a new product. So, that packaging has to attract. This is the marketing campaign. Marketing is basically how do you get attracted to buy a product at the first instance without having used the product. So, here I am not putting a drop, nasal drop and saying this is more salty or sour. I am not doing that. I am just looking at the packaging, and the package is very clear. This is Otrivin, this is fast relief, that is what I want. It is an adult nasal spray, this is not for all ages, it is very clear. So, if I am looking for my baby, I would not buy this, right. It is very clear. So, this clarity of thought is sometimes helpful in the simulated test marketing. This is another example where there is this new shampoo which has come in the market with an activated charcoal, and this is from a new company, and we want the customers to come in a simulated setting and figure out or pick this activated charcoal, and we want to see whether the customers come and pick this. Let us say 25% of the customers are picking this. Now, we are successful that customers are realizing the importance of this activated charcoal, which is the keyword here. They like this fact. Otherwise, we may have to switch this marketing campaign to something other than activated charcoal. Maybe we want to say strong hair or really for hair fall therapy. So, there are so many options there. What does our product stand for? When first of all they are trying to pick, and this is applicable to the apps as well. There are so many apps in the market. When somebody first downloads the app or looks at an app platform, are they willing to use it? That decision happens typically in a few seconds just by looking at it. If you have a very cluttered or shabby kind of looking first page of the app, they will probably not go through. Similar with websites. We have seen so many hospital based websites which are extremely shabby. I do not want to name any, but look up some of the websites like from you know, like Apollo hospitals, some private hospitals like nursing homes. Some of them are extremely cluttered. They have names of like 100 departments which can come along, and you are totally lost. And some are very clear that what is the problem you are facing. Drop down menu, you click it, it tells you after 3 or 4 steps what is your age, what is the appointment which you are looking at, what dates, then it gives you all the doctors, right, and then you can easily check out. So, that interface is very important. That is what we understand through the test marketing is our marketing phase, where somebody is going to first look at our product, be willing to buy it, right. This is another example where this particular toothpaste, which is specifically the keyword is enamel health, is of interest, and this is a new introduced product in the market. Whether people will choose the Colgate Total or Colgate Enamel Health. This is a very key question, right. So, somebody with an enamel problem who has just come out of a dental clinic or has been you know, diagnosed with an enamel problem will probably go for Enamel Health, very clear. Enamel health with whitening. But somebody who does not have an enamel problem will probably go for a Colgate Total or something, right. So, are the particular target customers who are specifically for this product, the people with enamel issues, able to figure out which is the right product for them within a range of products? This also applies to the big platforms like Amazon, right, or big platforms like 1mg, right, like the digital platforms. Are they able to pinpoint what product do they want? And that usually comes with the value propositions and features. It all boils down to that. So, that is what is simulated test marketing, where a lot of similar competitor products are there, and somebody is able to very quickly detect that this is the product which I want, and they are willing to buy it, right. That way we know we have reached our target customers well, and our marketing campaign is successful. This is the last example where there are a range of thermometers displayed in a particular pharmacy. and what we want to buy is the product on the right, where it's like a handheld kind of thermometer, and it can measure the temperatures, but most of these handheld kind ones are not available in the pharmacy. They are typically at a commercialized level. You would see them bought through institutes and companies. So what you have available in the pharmacy are these 6 options basically. So a particular person who walks in wants to understand, I want something which is on the right, but I cannot seem to understand which one out of these would suffice. So can they look at the packaging and the details of a thermometer and quickly select something as close as possible to what they desire? Maybe the last one, or maybe the second last one, right? Based on the cost, the requirements, like it should be Celsius, Fahrenheit. If you are living in India, you would need Fahrenheit. 1 to 15 centimeters is the distance through which you can measure. Some are just touch contact, some are contactless. You want something contactless. They are able to clearly highlight the high and low. These are some features which the particular customers would be looking at. Can they quickly pinpoint these features? This is what the right simulated test marketing is. If your particular, let's say the Proven, this second last, the 5th thermometer here clearly says these features and that matches with the aspirations of the customer, great, they are going to buy it, and it matches with the cost expectation as well. Let's say the 6th one is very, very expensive, it has the same features as the 5th, so that is also a competitor, they will not buy it, right. So product from my company has to be this 5th one which customers are willing to buy, and that is based on the customer requirement in the market, which we have come out through the customer discovery program. So this is the summary of simulated test marketing. Basically we have learnt that what are the different techniques in which we can get our marketing campaign right, and understand before the actual launch of our product that are the customers able to understand or pick our product rightly and willing to pay for it, right. So with that we have ended the lecture on the simulated test marketing. Stay tuned for more exciting lectures on the marketing techniques and strategies and commercialization upcoming, right. Thank you.